ladies and gentlemen. I'm very happy to see you all here, full room, which it rarely happens on forum closings, but I think one of the key reasons is because we have a very highly distinguished keynote speaker at our forum. So please welcome one more time the President of the Italian Chamber of Deputies, Ms. Laura Boldrini. Ms. Boldrini previously was working at, she's a lawyer. She graduated La Sapienza University. She was working at the Food and Agriculture Organization, FAO, the World Food Program. And between 1998 and 2012, she was the spokesperson of the UNHCR. And since March 2013, she's the president of the Chamber of Deputies. Ms. Boldrini.
Yes, good morning, everybody. I'm really very, very happy to be here today. I would like to thank you for inviting me at this gathering, and also to thank Giulio Ippolito for putting us in contact. It's a real pleasure. It's a real pleasure. It's great to see so many motivated, passionate lawyers from all over Europe, if I understand well, from all over Europe come together to share their experiences of providing free legal assistance to those who need it and to those who are unable to afford it. Two very important themes: those who need it and those who cannot afford it. So I'm glad that this it's the ninth European Pro Bono Forum is also taking place here in Rome, and of course I welcome all of you here. Yes, just a little bit about myself. It was already said, but I want to also underline some aspects. I have a legal background, it's true. And my father, who was a lawyer, in order to convince me to study law, said, yes, but, you know, it's important to study law because you can always defend those who have no rights. So that was the reason why I accepted to study law. I was not convinced, I have to be honest. Political science, more interesting. No, stop it. No. Better to study law because you can help those who have no rights, those who have no voice. And this is why I decided to study law. Then I decided to use my background in the international environment. And I started working with the UN agencies. I started with FAO, and then with the World Food Program, and for 15 years I was the spokesperson of the UNHCR, mainly covering the Mediterranean area. And my last mission I undertook for UNHCR was in Greece. I just tell you a few words about this. It was my last mission because in Greece I received a telephone call from the leader of the political party, left political party, Niki Vendola, who offered me to stand for the elections, for the political elections. I was in Greece, but this is another story. In any case, in those days I was in Greece, and 3 years ago, this time 3 years ago, and when I received that famous call, and I was in a clinic, in an NGO, Médecins du Monde. I was there trying to understand also the composition of the patients. Yes, there were many refugees there. There were migrants waiting to be treated, but there were also a lot of Greek people, because they couldn't afford to pay medicines by themselves, because with the, with the austerity measures in Greece, also going to public hospitals meant to buy medicines. They couldn't afford to have medicines. So while I was there, speaking with the doctor, we heard somebody crying. So we went out and we noticed a young man, an African young man, who was yelling, saying, yelling because it was blood all over. His face was swollen. And he said, it hurts me. And the others, the friends with him, said, stop complaining. What do you expect? You are black. It's normal to be beaten up. It's normal. Accept it and shut up. Now, imagine, accept it and shut up. So that was the sentence which made me understand that was time maybe to do something more. But I wonder if that African man I met there report to the police. I think no, he didn't. Be sure, he didn't report to the police. And he didn't seek justice for what happened. And this was not the first time I witnessed such a situation. Thousands of migrants in this country, but also in many other countries in Europe, I'm afraid, don't dare to go to the police. Don't dare to look for justice. They simply don't dare. So they are exploited. They are exploited in the countryside. They are exploited building no matter what. And they are exploited, and we do not want to see them, recognize their presence. And be sure that we can really say that this is the new form of slavery. We believe slavery is over. I'm afraid we're wrong. So this is why it's important, your work, the work you do. They need you. They need you. They need your help. And help from lawyers like you is also needed for many other issues, not just for the victims, migrants who fail to go to the police. This is not the only field. Your work is needed. Take the destitute parents whose children are taken away from them and sent to care homes simply because they are too poor to look after them, or to pay for a lawyer to try to get them back. Take this. Or take also the small NGOs who are taken to court by the corporations or organizations they have exposed to a report and cannot afford the best lawyers to plead their case. Or think at the lack of awareness among both the victims and those who are supposed to protect them, like in the case of most of the women who are trafficked into Europe through Italy every year, and who are totally unaware of, or maybe also too scared to benefit from the protection afforded to them by the law. I discussed this particular issue yesterday. Yesterday I met the special representative of the ESCE for trafficking. She was the special representative for trafficking. She visited me yesterday. And during this meeting, it came out that, I give you this figure, 4,500 Nigerian women have been rescued at sea and disembarked on the Italian shores this year. And this means 4 times the number of 2014. Keep in mind, 4,500, and this number is 4 times the number of the year before. The International Organization for Migration estimates that 80% of the Nigerian women entering Europe in this way are victims of traffickers. 80%. So, this is something which really have to raise a concern. We have to raise concern on this issue because very few of these women, very few of them, get access to the so-called social protection resident permits. And this is despite the fact that Italy has an excellent legislation on the issue. So really little of these women have access to this special permit to stay. So this is not always because the women are frightened. Yes, they are. But this is not only because of this. It's also due to the fact that the police officers and NGO staff, those who are in the first reception centers, they are not always trained to identify victims of trafficking. And what is even more concerning, and that they sometimes do not know that victims of trafficking do not need to file a criminal case against their traffickers to benefit from protection. They can benefit from protection without filing a criminal case. But if those who are there are not aware of this because are not trained, then obviously the benefit we have cannot be even used by the women. So the work you do, both as lawyers and also, allow me to say, as activists, is a crucial work. Awareness raising, training, and lobbying are, in my opinion, as important as the invaluable activities you carry out in police stations, in courtrooms, from the local courts to the European Courts of Human Rights. And as you can notice, maybe I continue to be interested in these issues in my current position, because the values we have in ourselves, they are always with us, no matter what you do. I, for 25 years, was an international civil servant, and those values were part of myself. Today, I am the president of the Italian Camera dei Deputati. Those values are still with me. And those values are the respect of human being, the respect of human dignity. And I try to implement this every day in the legislation, but also on social issues at national and international level. Those values are values which have, a large field of implementation. Last summer, I was in Bosnia-Herzegovina. I was there for an unofficial visit, but also because it was 20 years from the anniversary of the genocide, a genocide after the Second World War in the heart of Europe. The relatives of the thousands of mainly men and boys, they were mainly men and boys, who were slaughtered, were there. They were all there, the parents, the mothers of Srebrenica. The mothers of Srebrenica were there. And they are still waiting justice. Imagine, after 20 years, they are still waiting justice. Justice for what happened while the international community stood by. And the slogan, "No peace without justice," sums up very well the mood in Bosnia, where life has gone on. Infrastructures, yes, has been rebuilt. And a fragile democracy is still working quite well, establishing, at the end, the Dayton Accords, which were very complicated, are working out quite well, I would say. But it is our responsibility as member of the international community to ensure that the true healing can take place so that Bosnians can really move on, really, truly move on. And to do so, they need justice. They need justice. All sides need justice for the massacres. Forget going ahead with no justice. I have seen this in the Balkans. I have seen this in the Great Lakes, in Rwanda. They try to make justice in a way which is quite, for us, difficult to understand. Gachakas, they are these tribunals, popular tribunals. It's a way to pass justice, but everybody needs justice in order to continue life. So, dear friends, our societies, I think, also need more people who do what you do, who dedicate part of their life and their time to help others. This is a fundamental concept. Imagine a society where everybody decides to do something for others. Try to imagine what could be that society. That as part of life, everybody automatically devotes part of time to others. So if more people followed your example, our societies would be less unequal and more just. Our society would be based on true solidarity and on the principle that no one's right can be violated with impunity, and also that no one must be left alone when they go through difficult times. We would have a very different world, I'm sure. Thank you.